Hello, it's Eric here, and I'm back at my favorite island. And initially, I was looking for a kind of a desolate weekend all by myself, but as it turns out that this place is chock-a-block full of young people setting up their camping gear for the night. Yeah, so I guess I have to share the desolation with these young people. Yeah, I think the word has got out that this is a lovely island, and then so the young people come here in droves, to set up their camping gear and things like that. So I think my secret hideaway is not a secret anymore. Yeah, so it's, the word has got out, unfortunately, and yeah, but so I still want to make this video because I think I have come across some really stupid things that I've seen on the internet or in YouTube videos and things like that. Yeah, and then this thing is kind of a philosophical discussion, and then the philosophical discussion is called the companions in guilt. Yeah, and I have to admit this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so basically, by the way, I'm wearing my philosopher's hat today, so we're not going to talk about finance, but I do touch on finance in this particular philosophical discussion. Yeah. So the stupidest thing I've ever heard in philosophy is called the companions in guilt. Yeah. And so the idea is like this. Suppose there is a philosophical inquiries for a philosophical problem, and then the philosophers have agreed that it is a kind of a normative, thing. Like for example, moral philosophy is definitely a normative thing. Normative means that it's something that you should do, and there are some certain things you should not do. Yeah, and morality is definitely one of those things. Yeah. Like for example, in a traditional marriage, you should not commit adultery. Yeah. But that is only normative because we have traditional norms that we have to follow, and so therefore the traditional norm is that we are monogamous. That means we shouldn't commit adultery. Yeah, but that is only subject to that is normative, only subject to traditional cultural norms. But there are other cultures, like for example polyamorous culture, where you can commit adultery as much as you like. And my spouse is not gonna be mad at me. But in any case, so the idea about the companions in guilt is that if one philosophical inquiry is normative in nature, then all the other philosophical inquiries or similar philosophical inquiries should be normative in nature as well. Yeah, that's how they describe the companions in guilt. And I think I have to admit this is probably the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Yeah. And so let me give you some examples why I think this companions in guilt idea is extremely stupid. So first of all, let's agree that moral philosophy is definitely a normative subject. Yeah, because like I said, it's normative. That means that there are some things you should do and some things you should not do. But that is only a normative subject to certain cultural norms. Yeah. So granted, I admit that moral philosophy is definitely a normative subject, but it doesn't mean that other philosophical inquiries like finance, STEM, and logic, they are also normative in nature. Yeah, they are nowhere near normative in nature. Like for example, let's look at finance. Yeah. There's no such thing as things you should do and things you should not do in finance. Like for example, you may say, well, if the PE ratio is bigger than 15, that means that the stocks are too expensive, so therefore you should sell. And then if the PE ratio is less than 15, then the stocks are cheap and I should buy. But I mean, nobody says that you should follow this rule, yeah, or you should not follow some other rule, yeah. The only thing that happens in finance is that either you make money or you don't make money. So either something happens or something doesn't happen. There's no such thing as there are certain normative values that you should attach to. Yeah, there's no such thing as a normative value attached to the PE ratio in finance. Yeah, and similarly in STEM, in scientific subjects, there's no such thing as a particular kind of a scientific model that you should follow, and then there are some other scientific models that you should not follow. Like for example, the theory of gravity. Yeah. So that either the theory of gravity is true or it is not true. There's no such thing to say that we should always follow the theory of gravity. Even if you are saying that under certain assumptions or certain conditions. Yeah. There's no such thing as saying that we should follow this theory and should not follow that theory. Either in STEM, either the theory, like for example the theory of gravity, either is true or not. Yeah. There's no such thing as we should follow this theory and should not follow the other theory. And then finally, the most talked about philosophical problem in philosophy in the companions in Guild. The topic is logic. You know, they're saying that our morality is normative, so therefore they say logic should also be a normative. Yeah. So they're saying that there are some logical operations you should do, and then there are some logical operations that you should not do. I have to admit, this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard, in my life. In logic, either a statement is true or it's not true, based on the assumptions that you have laid down. Yeah. Like for example, the transitive operation, like for example, A leads to B and then B leads to C, and so therefore we can conclude that the A leads to C. Yeah. So either this operation is true or it's not true. There's no such thing to say that we should follow the transitive law, and then there's some other law that we should not follow in logic. And so to say that logic is normative because logic and morality are companions in Guild is probably the stupidest, the most stupid philosophical idea I've ever heard. And yeah, so that's my 2 cents on this particular topic. So whenever people tout this kind of a companions in Guild argument, you should definitely reject it. I think this, as I said, is the stupidest idea that I've ever heard in philosophy. Yeah. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.